Hello everyone, this is Sujita. Welcome to the Focused on JRF English Literature channel. Today's topic is Anglo-Norman or Middle English Literature. So we are going to see the literature happened during the period of Anglo-Norman. I have already given a video on history, social history of Anglo-Norman. Just check the video, okay? Language. So the language spoken during Anglo-Norman period is a combination of Old English as well as the Norman French. So the language is called as Middle English language. It is a combination of Old English as well as Norman French. Okay. So the letters the letters of Middle English language, it borrowed from Latin as well as from French. Okay. So I told you about the Crusades. So the Crusaders, when they written, they brought with them the manuscripts and the text that has been composed by the ancient Mediterranean societies. Okay, they not only conquered the land, but they also bring the manuscripts and the text of that nations. Okay, so they brought ancient Greek texts, Roman philosophers' texts, scientists' scripts, astronomers and mathematician. Okay, they brought all these people's manuscripts and texts. Okay, so the literary characteristics of this age. So word order became uniform. There is a uniformity in the word orders. Okay, so there is a standardized spelling is there for each and every word. So word formation has formed. The sentence all are standardized, and they even use the phonemes. Okay, so many dialect of English spoken all over the England, but London dialect is considered to be a standard dialect, and they chose London dialect to be the official language of England. Okay, so what are the essential features of the Romance? The Romance is a literary form which prevailed during this period. Okay, the medieval period. So it is actually a long composition, so not a short one. It is a long composition. They might even write it in verse or in prose, and sometimes in prose too. Okay, so what does it describe? It describes the life and adventures of the noble hero. It does not speak about romance, but it does not speak about the love life of any man or woman. So it speaks about the life and adventures of a noble hero. So what are the essential features of the Romance, the literary form? It lacks general resemblance to truth or reality. So you can't tell that everything the poet says is true, because it is an exaggeration of the vice of human nature, and they idealizes the virtues. Okay, so it contains perilous adventures. Perilous means a dangerous adventures, more or less remote from ordinary life. They are not ordinary, they are extraordinary things, exaggerations. Okay, so it lay emphasis on supreme devotion to a fair lady. And the central character, who is the central character here? A knight is a central character. He is from a noble birth. He is skilled in the use of weapons. And he is commonly described as a who is riding a horse and is going around to seek adventures. And he takes part in tournaments and fighting for his lord in battle. He's so devoted to the church and the king. This is the characteristics of the knights that we can see in the poems and the prose. Okay, knight who is so moral, who is so skilled, and who is so faithful, who is so chivalric. These are the characteristics of the knights. So the one who talks about these things, the poem which talked about these things, the prose which talks about these things is called as romances, literary form. Okay. So three kinds of romantic romance cycles, or three kinds of romance stories that were prominent during this period. So people were one or the other way, the poets or the authors, they spoke about these three things. Okay, so matter of Britain, matter of France, matter of Rome. These are the three kind of stories. So one or the other way they will be touching these three topics only. Okay. So what is matter of Britain? Matter of Britain means they speaks about the adventures of King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table. Okay. So this is what the matter of Britain is about. So if a person, a poet or a author is interested in matter of Britain, he just speaks about King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. Okay. So the one best story, greatest story from King Arthur is that a story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Okay, this is considered to be the culmination of Arthurian romances, greatest of the Arthurian romances. Okay, so Matter of France means this speaks about the adventures of Charlemagne. Who is that? He's Charles the Great. Okay, so he's a France king. So one of the best work of this Charlemagne is about Charlemagne is that La Chance de Roland. This work is about Charlemagne. Okay, best work about Charlemagne. So matter of Rome, it deals with the tales from Greek and Roman sources. Okay, so their favorite hero is Alexander the Great. So in matter of Britain, they speak about King Arthur. Likewise, in matter of Rome, they speak about Alexander the Great, and they also touches the Trojan War and so on. Okay, let's see the major writers and their works. So first comes Geoffrey of Monmouth. He's from 1095 to 1155. So he's an anthropologist actually, and he writes British historiography. Okay, so the history of the King of Britain. This is a work of him. And the original title was Historia Regum Britanniae. Okay, this is the original title. So in the English title is History of the King of Britain. So in it, he has written the lives of the king right from the Trojans till King Arthur. Okay, so this comes under the cycle of matter of Britain. Nothing more you need to know about him. So you just need to know that these people have written this. He is an anthropologist and he has written a history of King of Britain, and it is about kings right from the beginning of Trojans till King Arthur. This is other poets we are gonna see. First one is Vase. He has written two works, Roman de Brett and Roman de Roe. So Roman de Brett is a French work. Roman de Roe is also a French work. So Roman de Brett is about history of Britain. That's all. So Lyman is another poet. His work is known as Brett's. Brett is the work. So it is actually a chronicle of Britain. Okay, he's writing about the chronicle of Britain, what all happened in Britain. So he also touches from Brutus of Troy till King Arthur. Likewise, Geoffrey Monmouth. Okay, Geoffrey Monmouth also is giving the life of kings from Troy till Arthur. Likewise, Layman is also, you can say that it is another version of who's that? Geoffrey Monmouth's work. Okay, another version of Geoffrey Monmouth's work. So there is Pearl Poet. Pearl Poet, he actually uses Northwest Midland dialect, not London dialects, which is considered to be the official one, but he uses Northwest Midland dialect. Okay, so there is four important poem: Pearl, Purity, and Patience, and the fourth one is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. So no, he look at the poem's name. We didn't know his name, okay, but he has written a poem called Pearl, and that's why he is named after his poem. Okay, Pearl Poets. So Pearl, Purity, and Patient, and then Sir Gawain and the Green Knights. So Sir Gawain and Green Knight is considered the best Arthurian story. I already told you. And then it is about chivalric romance. So let's see about Pearl, Purity, and Patience. So before that, we will see Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Okay. So this is actually an adventures of the night of the Arthur's court. Okay, adventures that happened in the Arthur's court. So who faces a series of extraordinary challenges? Sir Gawain, he faces a series of extraordinary challenges. That's what the poem is about. The poem is of 2000, nearly 2500 line, and here it presents the test of Sir Gawain's moral character and knight's code of chivalry, and it also talks about the strict restrictions and guidelines a true knight should follow. Okay, so the poem is about there is a test for moral character of Sir Gawain's, we are going to see that, and the code of chivalry, and it also speak about the restrictions and guidance a true knight should follow. Okay, so let's see the plot of this Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. So it is actually, the setting is actually a Christmas day, and everyone is celebrating for the Christmas day. And at that time, a mysterious Green Knight, he appears at the court of King Arthur, and he is actually challenging the King Arthur to to strike him with to strike the Green Knight with the axe, and in condition that he should take a written blow in a year and a day. Okay, so he's actually challenging King Arthur, but King Arthur is so stunned and shocked, and by seeing that Green Knight is mocking at King Arthur actually. So Sir Gawain, he stood up and he said that he will take up the challenge, and he accepts, and he behead Green Knight with his blow. Okay, and what happened, the Green Knight, he just stands up, uh, 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 as if nothing happened, and he picks up his head from the ground, and he fixed it with his body, and he also reminded Gawain before leaving that he should meet him in a year and a day to get the written blow. Okay, so this is what happened. And now a year has passed. Okay, so a year has passed. So Sir Gawain, he leaves to look after the Green Chapel where the Green Knight was. Okay, so he actually goes through a lot of hardships, and he unable to find the chapel, and he was praying to Mary, the Jesus mother. So after the prayer, he could see a castle on the hill. Okay, so he goes up to the castle, and he is warmly entertained by the host and the hostess, and they also told him that the Green Chapel is not far away, and they also asked him to for a 3 day stay for 3 day in the castle. Okay, so he was also very tired, because of the long adventures. He even starving, and so he thinks that it is okay for him to stay for 3 days, because he has some days to meet him, because he has to meet him only after a year and a day, right? So he has some time. So Gawain stays there for 3 days. Okay. So the host makes a compact with him. According to the compact, the host goes out for hunting each day, and Gawain stays in the castle to entertain the beautiful hostess. And in the evening, they should exchange what they have got during the day. So that's what their compact is. And on the first day, host goes for hunting, and Gawain stays in the castle. The beautiful hostess, she tempts him. She tries to tempt him, and but Gawain, he refused. Then she gave Gawain a kiss. Okay, so when the host returns in the evening, he gives his guest the animal he killed. Okay, so the host, he gave Sir Gawain the animal he killed, and Gawain, he gives him the kiss he got from the lady. Okay, so on the second day, the same thing repeated. On the third day, the lady, she not only gave Gawain a kiss, but she also offers him a ring. But Gawain, he refused to accept the ring, and then the hostess warns him to accept a magic green girdle, and tells him that the girdle will protect him from any injury if he wears it. Okay, so girdle is a kind of thing which you have to wear it in your hip. Okay, so she gave it to him, and telling him that it will protect him from any kind of injury. So he was attracted by it, and Gawain, he accepts the girdle and promises to the lady to not to tell anybody about it. Okay, so when the host comes back in the evening, Gawain only gives back the kiss he got from the hostess, but he does not say anything about the girdle. Okay, so 3 days later, the host takes Gawain to the Green Chapel. Okay, the host disappeared when they reach the castle, and now Gawain, he meets the Green Knight in the chapel, and Gawain offers his neck for the blow. But Green Knight, he blows him twice, but Gawain was not at all injured. But when he gave him a third blow, the axe fall on his shoulder, and it gives him a slight wound on his shoulder. Okay, So now Gawain, he was wondering that why he strike him thrice, and why only at the third time he was wounded. And now the Green Knight, he tells that he is none other than the host, and he did not get hurt in the first two blow, because he was true, and he returned the kiss to the host, right? So the kiss he got from the hostess. And the third third time he got the wound, because he in the third day he hided the girdle which he got from the hostess, and that's why he the third blow strikes him, and he was wounded. Okay, so now the knight is very sad. Okay, so he's thinking that he was not loyal, he was not faithful to the host, and all those things he was thinking, and he was repenting. Okay, so now in the end he throws the girdle away, but a Green Knight asks him to have the green hurdle as a gift, and he goes back to King Arthur's court, and told everything that happened during the adventures, and how he has a girdle. Okay, so now he is also wearing the girdle in his hand, because it reminds him that he had done a mistake earlier. So that's what the plot is about. So the next one is Pearl, a Pearl poem. It is a vision poem actually. So it is the vision of a father who is mourning for the death of his daughter. So the father is sleeping, and he is having a vision, a dream of her daughter Pearl. The daughter's name is Pearl, and this Pearl, she is wearing a heavenly clothes, and she is also standing near a heavenly city, calling her father to come to the heavenly city. Okay, so that is what the vision is about. So the next one, patience, is about patience. We need patience. That is what the poem is about. The purity is about the virtues of cleanliness of body and delights of married life. Okay, and he also telling about the three subjects from Bible. The first one is flood is from the flood of Noah. You know Noah, right? It's Noah's period, the flood came in the Bible. It's a story from a Bible. And then there is destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, it's a city from Bible. Actually it is an actually they too were punished for homosexuality. Okay, so, and then fall of Belshazzar. Belshazzar was a king. He is wealthy, but then he doesn't have any virtues. Okay, that's why he was not successful at the end. Okay, so these three things says that we should be very pure to get near the God, or to get salvation. That is what the intention of the poets. Okay, so we should be pure at mind, at body, and everything, so that we can reach God, as we can reach salvation, we can attain salvation. That's what the message from the poets. So the next poem is Chance di Geste. So this is a collection of poem, and there is a poem called Songs of Deeds. Okay, so this poem is to praise. This poem praise the nobles and the knights who went to save their country. Okay, and there is another another poem, Songs of Roland. This is about the French ruler Charlemagne. Okay, so this is what you need to know about these things. No need to go in depth. So then the next poem is Owl and the Nightingale. So this is actually a debate poem, debate between Owl and the Nightingale. And in the end, they having a debate, and they cannot get the answer. So they went to the master Nicholas of Guildford for solution. Okay. The next one is Cursor Mundi. This is written in Latin. So this is also a collection of poem. So there is a poem called Runner of the World. So it is about the history of world as described by the Bible. So how a world form, all those things have written in the Bible, right? So same thing he had interpreted here. Okay, the poet had interpreted here, and the theme is man's redemption. Okay, how a man should redeem himself from the sin, all those things the poet has referred here. Okay, the next one is Ancrene Rivlet. This is actually prose work. This is actually a guide for anchorasis. Anchorasis means nun. Okay, so he had given how a guide, how a nun should be. All those things are mentioned here. Okay, so this prose contain 8 parts. So the part 2 and part 7, it deals with the inner life of the anchorasis, and the other parts, other 6 parts, they deals with the outer life of the anchorasis. Okay, this is what you need to know. And the other things you know, you don't need to go in depth because it's not necessary. So these are the other writers we will be seeing individually in the upcoming videos: John Govo, William Langland, Chaucer, John Lydgate, Thomas Malory, Wycliffe, Mandeville, and Occleve. These are the writers we'll be seeing individually. Okay. Hope you understand what I have taught you. So until then, goodbye.